Welcome to Bedcrime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T. If you like all things true crime, if you like it delivered in a peaceful, tranquil manner, if you like it clear and concise without drama, then I highly recommend you subscribe. And if you like what you hear, please smash the like button. It's a free way you can help. And now, without further ado, let's dig in. Good morning. Happy 4th of July. I hope you guys are having a great day with your family and your friends and celebrating the red, white, and blue. I am not a statement or behavioral analyst. However, Peter Hyatt is, and Hyatt says Katie and Chris Proudfoot, based on their behavior and words, not only likely know what happened to their son Sebastian, they are likely responsible for it, allegedly. Hyatt, like me, doesn't waste his time looking for reasons to find Sebastian Rogers' father, Seth, suspicious. Hyatt, point blank, pointed out that Seth wasn't with Sebastian when he went missing. Full stop. No chasing red herrings here. We seek truth, not illogical rabbit holes. Allow me to break down why Peter Hyatt is convinced of this, meaning that Katie and Chris Proudfoot know what happened. Katie did not dial 911 immediately, or at all when Sebastian went missing. She's the mama bear, and she was there when Sebastian, in the words of Don Wells, got gone. Why didn't she dial 911? In other cases where mothers don't alert the police, it's because of guilt. So that was Katie's first silence. I'm going to be pointing out 3 of her silences. Katie's second silence came when it took her 6 days before alerting the public that 15-year-old Sebastian, a vulnerable child with autism, chromosomal deletion syndrome, was missing. 6 days of silence. Katie, who supposedly was the only parent home when Sebastian disappeared, did not run to the local or national media pronto to share her son's current photo or to plead for his safe return and help in finding him. He is a special needs child. I don't care how high functioning he is as a special needs child, he is at a greater vulnerability. So if this were your child, would you remain silent for a week? Wild horses couldn't keep me silent. Katie's third silence came when she and Chris finally caved to social media pressure and went on Chronicles of Olivia. Chris Proudfoot, a master manipulator, and a man boastful of the ways in which he punished Sebastian in the past, did most of the talking. Chris basically took over the interview, just like he took over the call to the sheriff's office. This demonstrates Chris's controlling nature, and although I get the feeling he thinks he's smarter than the rest of us, he, per Peter Hyatt, told us many details of what happened on the night Sebastian vanished. Chris felt the need to get ahead of one detail, and that was the 3-hour phone call he had with Katie. Per Hyatt, this call is connected to Sebastian's disappearance. Hyatt believes there was an altercation in the home that night because Katie and Chris have been adamant that Sebastian walked out the front door. One of Hyatt's theories is that Sebastian was forced out of the home as a punishment, and then possibly something terrible happened to him outside. And I heard one of the guys on the behavior panel or behavioral panel say that he thought it was an altercation about friends, and that's because Katie mentioned how many friends Bubba, Sebastian, was going to have when he came back home. That man also used the word altercation. It says the 3-hour phone call is directly related to Sebastian's disappearance, and we know this because Chris Proudfoot basically told us. Chris clearly felt that the call needed transparency, so per Hyatt, he believes the 3-hour call and when it took place probably coincides with what happened to Sebastian. The call is the time frame for police. Whatever happened to Sebastian occurred around this time, most likely, and Katie needed to talk about it with her husband, Chris. Chris also told us that Katie was a worried mom, but he didn't need to tell us this because having a missing child, it would be normal for a mother to be worried. So why did Chris feel the need to have to tell us that Katie was worried? It's like he was trying to convince us of this. According to Peter Hyatt, reveals deception. Chris is inserting the element of worry into the narrative. If Sebastian met his demise in the home, Hyatt feels Katie and Chris are in on it together, and either Sebastian was put out of the door, put outside, or he left in distress. Hyatt believes it's possible Sebastian met with foul play after being forced out of the house. Hyatt pointed out that Chris Proudfoot was not concerned about Sebastian. Instead, he was boasting about punishing the child. Chris gave this information to us. Hyatt hopes law enforcement will re-interview Katie and Chris because they are not being candid about the events. It said there was anger, an unreasonable stepfather Sunday night. Both Katie and Chris seem to have a need to make the story cloudy. The exact opposite of "let me make this crystal clear." It also expressed that he was shocked to see the degree to which Katie was kept from speaking during that interview by Chris. It's a giant red flag. The bottom line is strangers are more interested in Sebastian's current whereabouts than Katie and Chris Proudfoot. That is another red flag. Instead of trying to rally searchers to go out and look for Sebastian, the Proudfoots are on the defensive, and they're trying to protect themselves. Hyatt is certain something took place Sunday night, and that's what led to all of this. And Katie Proudfoot has the most information about what happened. Chris has the second greatest amount of information about what happened. Seth Rogers, again, wasn't there. You can chase that red herring all you want, but in my opinion, it's a waste of time. By the way, Hyatt believes whatever happened was not planned. Instead, it was spur of the moment. Hyatt feels that something blew up Sunday night, and Chris Proudfoot was part of it. Hyatt also feels that the Proudfoot's marriage likely won't last, and this is because it's stressful to be living a big lie. Allegedly, I'm gonna say. Over time, the big lie will chip away at the marriage. So I think it's time that Katie Proudfoot heads down to the police station and tells everything she knows. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.
Now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Said goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
6.
So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
And so at that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here They responded within minutes, and here we go.